751 unmarked graves were found at a former residential school for Indigenous children in Saskatchewan, Canada. This follows the discovery of 215 burials in British Columbia last month. A new initiative is going to uncover the dark past of boarding schools like this all across the U.S. Reporter Julia Sandor took a look at how this initiative will affect Indigenous people in Arizona.
The Federal Indian Boarding School Initiative is set to investigate the Native American boarding schools that forced assimilation in the 19th and 20th centuries. For years, these schools did not let Indigenous people speak their native language, practice their own religion, or learn about their culture. They even had to change their names.
Lieutenant Richard Henry Pratt had a lot to do with the structure of these boarding schools. His idea was kill the Indian, save the man. So the whole destruction and annihilation of Indian identity, Indian culture, was to be destroyed at these federal boarding schools.
Talahungva attended the Phoenix Indian School in the late 70s and says by that time the school was more lenient and even had tribal clubs. But her experience was much different from her ancestors. U.S. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland wants to amplify all Indigenous voices and share the impact these schools had on their families.
The same agency that tried to eradicate our culture, our language, our spiritual practices, and our people. To address the intergenerational impact of Indian boarding schools and to promote spiritual and emotional healing in our communities, we must shed light on the unspoken traumas of the past, no matter how hard it will be.
The initiative will compile and analyze records to find past boarding schools, find names and tribal affiliation of former students, and locate all possible burial sites on or near the schools.
Yes, it will be hard to look back on that past, but it's time that it was acknowledged. The atrocities that happened here need to be acknowledged, not only for those that have already gone, but those of us that are still here, and those of us that are still coming.
In Phoenix, Julia Sandor, Cronkite News.
Haaland says the investigation will focus on compiling and reviewing decades of records to better understand the loss of life at the schools while they were in operation. The final report for the initiative is due by April 1st, 2022.